If dogs can smell cancer, why isn't this a popular form of cancer screening? Dogs can smell cancer, but they're not very good at it. They're good, but they are not good enough to get sniffed by a dog, a procedure you'd recommend. There was a study where dogs were used to detect breast cancer. They achieved a sensitivity of 84% and a specificity of 81%. That means that out of 100 women with breast cancer, the dogs would correctly diagnose 84, and for every 100 women they diagnosed with breast cancer, 19 would actually be healthy. Now, this doesn't sound too bad, but if we used them for general screening, you would have a staggering amount of women being falsely diagnosed with cancer, having to undergo other forms of diagnostic procedures in order to be cleared. Let's assume you screen a population of women, in which 0.1% actually have breast cancer at the time of screening. If you screen 1 million women, 1,000 of those would have cancer, and 999,000 would be healthy. Out of the 1,000 women with cancer, the dogs would find 840. Out of the 999,000 women without cancer, the dogs would find around 810,000 to be healthy, and around 190,000 to be sick without actually having cancer. So you have a quota of 840 women correctly diagnosed, to almost 200,000 wrongly diagnosed. That is horribly bad and means that even though the dogs are correct 4 out of 5 times, they just suck if they have to diagnose a population that is overwhelmingly healthy, which is the case for screening procedures. The way of mitigating this problem in screening is usually making sure that the population you screen has a high likelihood to have the condition you're looking for. In women's breast cancer, we do this by only screening women above a certain age. Why does the human body not reject tattoos? If a person gets a splinter in their finger, and they decide to leave the splinter in their finger, the body will slowly push out the splinter itself. The body recognizes that the splinter is a foreign object and it rejects it. If someone is grilling food and breathes in the smoke, they will cough and wheeze. They cough and wheeze because the body recognizes the smoke is a foreign object and coughing is the body's way of pushing the smoke out. Why doesn't the human body reject tattoos in the same way? It does. That's why your tattoo gets all itchy and slightly swollen at first, and why it fades over time. Basically, the ink particles are too big to easily be broken down, and the methods the macrophages use to remove foreign bodies don't work well on ink. You essentially end up with a bunch of your immune system cells filled up with ink, holding everything together in place. When they die and are replaced by new cells, they also get full of ink and on it goes. Why does our body make scar tissue instead of normal tissue, in order to heal some wounds? Has to do with the depth of the wound? At a microscopic level, your skin is several layers of cells, stacked on top of each other. Beneath the bottom layer, there is a floor called a basement membrane, and all the cells of the bottom layer are similar to stem cells. As long as the basement membrane is intact, they can generate new skin cells above them practically indefinitely. If a wound only injures top layers of cells and the bottommost layer, and the basement membrane are untouched, you'll heal by filling the space with new cells and without a scar. If a wound goes down to the bottommost layer of cells and basement membrane, then they can't fill the space with new cells, and instead your body fills it with a dense rubbery semi-inert material that we call scar tissue. Why don't plants get cancer? Plants do get cancer. While plant cancers may be different in etiology and mortality than animal cancers, it's super important for your fundamental understanding of biology to realize that cancer isn't a particular pathology. Instead, cancer is an instance of a subgroup of cells in a multicellular organism becoming unregulated. In other words, cancer is possible in any multicellular organism, because the only condition necessary for a cancer to form is a disruption of the cell cycle in a multicellular organism,